We had our daughter in March of 2022, and from 0 to 6 months old, she slept really well with normal regressions, but she would always contact nap in the car or stroller. After 6 months, her sleep changed overnight. We were so lost. My anxiety and depression went through the roof. I could barely function, let alone work. Work was completely off the table. We were just in survival mode for the next 5 months. We tried so many sleep sacks, weighted sleep sacks, floor mattress stuffed animals, bedtime routines, magnesium lotion. She fought naps so hard. If I went back and looked at my app at how much she was napping, her wake windows were huge. At 10 months old, she dropped down to 1 cat nap a day, and usually I could only get her to sleep in the stroller or the car. I could tell it was starting to affect her development and that we needed to seek professional help. Our brains as adults can't function properly with a lack of sleep. It affects our immune system. There are so many health factors that are tied to our quality of sleep. She was really suffering. We all were. And finally, my husband found Batelle Sleep School at 2 a.m. when Kai was 11 months old. I watched every single review that I could find to try and figure out, did this align with my philosophy? Did it work? And was it worth the money? Was this going to be another waste of money? We had already thrown away so much money on a million different things that had ultimately failed. There wasn't a whole lot of information out there, which is why I really wanted to make this video. If you are in sleep survival mode, like I described earlier with a baby or a toddler, this video is for you. So I want to go through what the program is first. Then I'll talk about our experience, which you already know was life-changing. And then the third thing that I'll talk about is how to join. But first, it's really important, and I want you to know that I didn't want Batelle to sponsor this video. I want to show you the good, the bad, and the ugly. I didn't want this video to be censored or have to be submitted for approval in any way. This is my honest review, and the truth is the program has changed since we went through it, and so I want to explain why and what that means for you. First, what is Batelle Sleep School? And I think it's really interesting that they named it Sleep School because that's very accurate. It really does teach the parents how to teach their babies that sleep is safe and good. I was not willing to do Cry It Out, and I can honestly say Batelle 100% supports this. You will never, if you go through this program, you will never leave your baby alone to cry it out without responding to them. Now, you don't always respond how they want you to, but you always respond when they cry. A good comparison would be when the baby is in a car seat and they're upset. They want you to pick them up and get them out of the car seat, and when you're driving somewhere, you can't do this. So you can't pick them up and get them out of the car seat, but maybe you can hold their hand. Maybe you can sing to them, give them a stuffed animal, distract them, sit next to them, etc. It's the same thing with Batelle Sleep School. There is a very rigid structure and plan that you follow, and that honestly gave me a big relief. We had just been winging it with her sleep for so long. It felt amazing for someone who was a professional to sit us down and tell us, this never-ending nightmare will be over in 2 weeks if you follow this step-by-step plan. And just in case the words rigid structure really freak you out, Batelle does such a great job of really easing the parents and the baby into the process. They very slowly help the parents change the sleep associations for the child. It's so gradual and gentle. It's truly built on the relationship and the trust between you, and that's really what I wanted. How they explained it to us was that we had spent basically 11 months teaching our daughter how to sleep, and that was that we would hold her until she fell asleep, and then we would transfer to the crib. When she wakes up, we aren't holding her anymore, and so she freaks out and then rinse and repeat all night. It would be like if you fell asleep in your bed and then you wake up in the middle of the night and you're on the couch instead. You could go back to sleep, but how did you get here? Why aren't you in your bed? Is it even safe here? You feel very vulnerable. In the baby's mind, we have to change that association. Mom and dad's arms aren't the bed. The bed is the bed, and sleeping there is safe and good. One of the things I really liked about the program is that they introduced these sleep changes during the day through play. During the day is so much less threatening and less stressful. There's no pressure to actually sleep. And so we're just free to explore and play and create those positive associations with the sleep space. Another aspect of the program that I loved was their immense help with night weaning. Night weaning, really, the thought of it freaked me out because that had been the only thing that could get her to sleep for so long. If we cut that out completely, we're kind of like burning the ships behind us, and this plan has to work. What if it doesn't work? What if we have to go back to feeding at night? There was a lot of doubts, and they really were so good at walking us through that process. They assured me and held my hand, and it was honestly so much easier than I thought it was going to be. We switched to exclusively dream feeds at first, and the idea behind that is the baby doesn't need to wake up and call out for you so that you can come rescue them. We want to do away with that pattern altogether. Sleep in the sleep space is not something that the baby needs rescuing from, and that's actually a really important piece of the entire program. Now, when our daughter wakes up, and she's almost 2 now, she'll just roll around or sing and play, and of course I can see her on the monitor, but changing that pattern of who's in control is so important. When a baby feels like they are in charge of when the parent comes in the room and when the parent comes to get them, it's a very stressful environment, and they need that healthy boundary that they are not in charge, and it ends up truly being a relief to them, I believe. We went through the Batelle program 1 year ago, and it was not a temporary fix. Really, nothing that we do now is different from when we finished the program. We have used it all through vacations and traveling. We've used it for her to nap at grandparents' house. It's worked all through teething and sickness. 1 year later, and the Batelle system is working just as well now as when we finished the program. Our daughter sleeps, as of right now, between 11 to 12 hours at night, and when she naps, it's about 2 to 2.5 hours during the day. Our bedtime routine now is about 5 minutes, and sometimes we extend it if we want to. And I remember hearing a review say that exact same thing when I was researching the program, and I could not wrap my head around that. I could not comprehend extending the bedtime routine voluntarily, because at the time it was taking us 45 minutes to an hour of rocking her and holding her in order for her to fall asleep. Like I said earlier, when she wakes up, she'll roll around or play or talk to her stuffed animals, and I'll see her on the monitor. If I'm in the middle of something, I'll just change her hatch light to yellow, and she knows that I'll be in to get her soon. The bedtime and wake up routines that we have in place now, thanks to Batelle, are so sustainable and so night and day different from what we had before. She goes to sleep and she wakes up so much happier, not frantic, not tired. How we handle wake-ups in the middle of the night has changed drastically too. So one of the things that Batelle has you get when you start the program is a 2-way monitor, and I'll go through all the supplies that they want you to get here in a second. We got this one right here on Amazon, and I'll link it below in the description. But basically, the 2-way monitor is so important because that is your first intervention if they wake up in the middle of the night and they call out. When I heard this, when we were looking into the program and just starting the program, I thought, this is never going to work. Never. I was so skeptical. They actually show you a video when you're in the program of a toddler waking up, and the dad talks to her through the monitor, says the mantra, lets her know everything's okay, and she lays back down and goes to sleep. This honestly blew my mind when I saw the video, and it's even crazier to me now that this is our reality. This is what happens if Kai hears something weird outside or she just kind of jolts awake. We'll talk to her through the monitor. She knows that everything's okay, and she just goes back to sleep. So the mantra is something that they have you create. You use this very early on in the program, and we actually still use it now. We just went on vacation a couple weeks ago, and we were in a new place, very unfamiliar. And for naps, we had her in this room. It was hard to get it totally dark like it is at home, and she was kind of nervous. So we stood right outside the door. We did the mantra a couple times. We reassured her that we were still here, everything's okay, and that brought enough familiarity. She knew that it was safe, and she went right to sleep. There are, of course, times when she escalates it past the monitor, and that's when you go in and you do check-ins just to make sure everything's okay, help her calm down, things like that. Consistent responsiveness. That is such a huge key for this program. It sets the expectations for your child. When when our daughter knows what to expect and we do what she expects, that gives her the confidence and the familiarity that she needs in order to calm down. Batelle essentially teaches you how to set all of that up so that this is your reality. Another aspect, and something that's really important to me when I'm investing in courses and programs, and that is customer service. Batelle customer service is amazing. They are extremely helpful and prompt with their communications. During the program, they were so good at keeping us calm, troubleshooting any nights that didn't go as planned, and then reassuring us that we were making good progress. Honestly, we were so sleep deprived at that point. We just needed someone to encourage us and to tell us over and over again that we're making good progress and it won't be like this forever as long as we stick to the plan. It's still a small enough business that you don't feel like you're just a number as a customer. You really feel like they are invested in your success, which is one of the reasons that I love promoting smaller businesses like this. Now, I want to talk about what they offer and how you enroll, because even though the heart of the program and the philosophy is the same as when we went through it, the offerings are actually different. If your baby is 0 to 5 months, they have a separate program that is more of a sleep shaping and setting you up for success with good habits early on, but it's not exactly the sleep school. Honestly, I can't go into much more detail than that because I haven't done it yet. We only did the sleep school. What I can tell you is that when we get pregnant again, I will be going through the infant sleep program, because even when our daughter was sleeping well, I still had a lot of anxiety around her sleep. And so I think that going through this would help us get set up with good habits early on and hopefully help eliminate some of that anxiety too. We did the 6 through 12 month program, and I'm very encouraged that they've added a 1 to 3 and also a 3+, because you need some of those changes in there. I mean, a 3-year-old is going to have different problems and different troubleshooting than a 9-month-old. I truly believe that the sweet spot and the fastest learning curve when you're doing the sleep school is the 6 to 12 month age range, maybe also 12 to 18 month. Batelle still has success stories of all ages, but I would just encourage you, don't wait. It doesn't get easier as they get older. I actually think it would be harder to stay consistent and implement all this stuff as they get older. It can be done. Like I said, they have success stories of all ages, but earlier I think would be easier. Tier 1. This is just the self-paced course. It's the cheapest option, but they don't offer the money-back guarantee. I understand why. It's just a self-paced course. It's very hands-off. There's no support, but honestly, I wouldn't mess around with this one. One of the main factors that made us pull the trigger with Batelle to begin with was that they had a money-back guarantee. To me, the extra money, the extra cost of a higher tier is worth not having that risk. Which leads me to tier 2, premium. With premium, you get the self-paced course and a 1-to-1 call with a sleep expert. This was very valuable to us when we went through the program. Teaching your baby new sleep associations, no matter how gentle, can still be very intimidating because it's such a high stakes game. There's like this seed of doubt in the back of your mind that says, if your sleep gets worse, how are we going to go on? Is this going to work? And I feel like the 1-to-1 call really puts your mind at ease and gets rid of that seed of doubt because they have seen it all. They were really able to come alongside us and validate what we were doing and validate how she was responding. And based on that, really give us an accurate timeline of when we would be finished. So the messaging is all done in the app. And like I said earlier, they are so prompt and so helpful. They do voice messaging too. So it's not technically a one-on-one call, but we found that the support was just worth every dollar. The AI support that you can have in the middle of the night. This is new. I can't really speak on this because this is a new feature that they've added since we went through the program. And I'm going to be honest with you. I can be honest because this isn't a sponsored video. When we went through the program with our daughter a year ago, they had 24/7 support with the experts. Obviously, this was a huge expense for them, but we also paid way more money than $450 for Batelle. But it doesn't look like that was financially sustainable for them, at least for right now. So we did use the overnight support pretty heavily when we went through the peak of the program. And I want to explain that to you guys. What this looks like is that the program is 2 weeks long. It's actually 10 steps, but it's built into the program that some of the tougher nights are going to take more than one night to complete and move on to the next step. So the first several days, not a whole lot changes. You're introducing one new thing every single night, and that's how they get it to be so gradual. I actually had to look back. Kyla did really, really well until day 8. We had to repeat day 8. And I remember because this was the first night where they fall asleep with you not in the room and not in sight. So we had to repeat day 8. The next couple of days were pretty demanding, but once she understood this new boundary, the last couple of days of the program actually went really smoothly and really well. And they actually said that this was very typical. The program doesn't get harder and harder and harder all the way to the end. It actually peaks somewhere in the middle, and then the program gets easier again toward the end. All that to say, we had the overnight support during the peak of the program, and we did use it. It was tough. Could we have done the program and had the same success, the same results without that overnight support? Probably yes, but it's honestly hard to say just because you're so sleep deprived. It's so nice having someone on your team who isn't sleep deprived and who can validate what you're doing or validate your intuition with it. So here's the thing. You can add 3 nights of overnight support for $450. And I know that's not cheap. I know that's not cheap, but it is an option. If I was doing this again, if I was to enroll for the first time, I would do the premium option. So tier 2 with the 3 nights of overnight support for the peak of the program. This is the most cost-effective way that I see. You can even do monthly installments. You can also use your HSA or FSA on any of these tiers. And another reason I like this option is that you still have the money back guarantee, unlike the basic tier. So let's go over the supplies and other things that you'll need for Batelle. I already talked about the 2-way monitor, and I'll link that again below in the description. It's nothing fancy, but it works really well. Also a Hatch sound machine. And again, I'll link the one that we have down below in the description. But the way that Batelle uses the Hatch sound machine to communicate between you and the child is just brilliant. I absolutely love that I can be working downstairs. I can see that Kyla wakes up on the monitor. I can change her light to yellow, and she knows that she can play, and I'll be up to get her in a second. I know I talked about some of that earlier, but the Hatch is so necessary. I absolutely love that they use that in the program. I do wish they still included it in the program when you enrolled, and I think that's one of the biggest differences between when we took the program and what it is now. When we took it, it was one price, one sleep school, and that included everything: the Hatch, the Hug, the overnight support, everything. But it was really expensive. Now there's a lot of options. You can do just a self-paced program, but there's a pretty big jump in price, and then you kind of have to buy separately the Hatch, and you have to decide if you want overnight support. All of the add-ons add up, and I don't know if that's better than the sticker shock of what it was before, but here's what I do know is that the program works. The program truly is amazing. The customer support is also amazing. However many kids I end up having, I will be doing Batelle with all of them. The way that they package the program is a little all over the place, but I really don't want that to deter you because I don't think it accurately reflects how life-changing this course is. Batelle Sleep School is a life-changing course. I can tell you that firsthand. I think they're still kind of figuring out how to best package and sell it. Last but not least, this is actually the most important part. I reached out to Batelle and I told them I was going to be doing an honest review for you guys, and they offered me a code and a discount to give you, and that is JESS15. If you put JESS15 at checkout, you will get 15% off whatever tier you choose. I really hope that this video just helps even one family pull the trigger on Batelle to completely transform their child's sleep and save their sanity. I've been there and I know how agonizing it can be. I'm more than happy to answer any questions. If you have any questions at all about Batelle, please leave them in the comment section below and I will personally reply. If you go through the program, I would absolutely love it if you give your honest review of your experience in the comment section below too, to help others and give others confidence to make the right decision for themselves. One more time, use the code JESS15 at checkout to save 15% off your Batelle purchase.